You're listening to Easy Travels, an original podcast from Nexion Travel Group.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another action-packed episode of the Easy Travels podcast, brought to you by the good people at Nexion Travel Group. My name's Chris. Joining me, as always, is the action man himself, the incomparable Coach Martin Mussey. What's up, Martin?
Hey, Chris, always good to be here. I love it. Action Man. It's actually been a while since I've been referred to that, so I love it. I'll take it on. Action Man himself is here. Good to be on with you.
Awesome, because joining us today, we have not one, not two, but three amazing guests. We have Mike Plumton, Adrianne Raia, and Emily Fengler, collectively representing the group we call Travel with Pride. Welcome to all of you.
Thanks for having us.
Morning.
So if you could all just quickly introduce yourselves, starting with Mike.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is Mike. I'm a Canadian who lives in Philadelphia. I have a travel company named Happy Factory, which is based in positive psychology practices with the idea of helping people build and travel with joy in a safe and authentic way that works for them.
All right, Adrianne.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, my name is Adrianne. My agency, Carry On Vacations, and I are both based in California.
And last but not least, Emily.
Good morning. My name is Emily Fengler, and I'm out of Nashville, Tennessee. My company is Tailor My Travels. There's a total of 5 agents on my team, including myself, and I've been in the industry about 8 years.
Well, thank you all for being with us. We're so glad that you could join the podcast today. And I probably should say a special thanks to Adrianne because you are up early for your time zone. So thank you for doing that for us. So I'd like to share a little bit on how this all got started. And then I'm going to turn it over to you, Mike, to kind of talk about the evolution since we got started. But I remember being in the early days of Travel with Pride and just peeling back the curtain a little bit, when I started to step into the role, I've always been an ally to the LGBTQ plus community. And, this was something that was near and dear to my heart. And so when the opportunity to get involved by doing workshops at Connection, I started to do that. And we had one of our dear teammates who retired, TC Phelps, shout out. And, this was very important to her as well. And when I took over the workshop, naturally what came with it was a group inside of Nexion Town. And it was very boringly named the LGBTQ plus network group within the Nexion Town when I first took it over. And then it grew from there, and we got folks involved like Mike, Adrianne, and Emily, and it just has blossomed. And I'm so proud and excited that it's gotten to where it is, which includes a name change. Thank goodness. So, Mike, can you take it from there? Talk about the evolution of the group and what it is today.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for, I think in the queer community, grassroots is a word we use often. It's someone coming together with an idea, trying to piece something together with people who hopefully will show up. So I think having that presence of that LGBTQ Nexion Town group, if I got that name right, was a starting piece. I know for me, my first connection, I saw there was a session. I was like, okay, I'm clearly going to that. And it was great in terms of content. And the part I noticed was there was a lack of visibility outside of that 1 hour session that was optional. And at that, I spoke to Emily and I spoke to a few others, and we're like, there's got to be more, and what's something we can do? So over the following couple of years, we thought about it, we wandered away, we got back to life, and then we came back a few years ago and said, let's make this happen. So with that, what that meant was we wanted to take more ownership, and we wanted to make sure that it was something that was always there, that there was a sense of active, that it wasn't a passive experience, not just at a conference once a year, not just one session, but something that people, advisors, as well as partners could join and could be a part of it. So Travel with Pride, we came up with that name with the idea of we want people to be travel with pride, meaning comfortable, safe, emotionally emotionally ready, mentally, all of those good things, no matter who they're dating with. It's more than one person, if they're solo travel, whoever they are, if it's a family with children, that people who are part of the LGBTQ plus community could be seen and are part of that story. as well as the allies. So no change ever happens without having allies involved. So I think that was an important piece too, is that it's not just for the LGBT folks, but it is also for straight allies. So it evolved about a year and 3 months ago, I believe. We just put a ask out, hey, he wants to come to this meeting, and we had a Zoom meeting, and we saw who showed up. I think the original was about 15-ish, and it was amazing. It was great. It felt safe. I think that was the important thing, is like, what does that look like, and where do I belong? And we had a lot of people share stories about, I have trans kids, and this is important for me, or I'm queer, and this is important for me. And just a lot of questions about how can I do better? Because I think that's one thing in our community, is we often do a lot of training around how to sell, increase your sales, money, money, money. And there's not a lot of opportunities to come together. How can I just be a more well-rounded person? How can I be more empathetic? How can I be more skilled to communicate and connect and support someone who may or may not be like me? And how can I connect with people who are like me, with me, outside of sales? So it has evolved over that course of the year from our little baby. We had an active social connection last year. We had 9 partners help support it. We had about 60 people attend, which was amazing. And at the end of it, there were tears, and there was, how does this continue to grow, and how can I be a better part of it? So we meet every couple months, but we're also built out this year. We're starting with committees, because there has been a need and an ask for folks. How can I do more outside of myself, Adrianne, and Emily? Like, we're the leaders of this, because we want it to also be bigger than us. Because if we're doing all the work doesn't get done, meaning like 3 people can't change the world. That we are wanting to have and needing, and there's interest for people to be more involved. So we now have an events and social committee, an industry partners and advocacy committee, and resource management and education committee, with the idea of helping us actually achieve our goals of creating that safe and affirming space for queer identifying advisors and allies, with helping advocate for change within the Nexion community, the travel community, the partnership community, and just like in real world, like, what is it like? How can you travel somewhere that might be not so safe? How can we maybe make it safer? How can we start to make changes? So in closing, we have worked from like ideas, meeting where members are at, always have an open door, and also growing to how people can be more active to make real change. So we're really pumped for what this year could bring as we continue to grow and continue to make more impact.
That's great to hear. I'm curious, what drew you all to taking on the leadership of a network? Because, of course, it's one thing to be part of a group, but to actually take on the responsibility of being a leader, that's a whole different ballgame. So, what drew you into that?
Sure. Yeah, I'll get that one off. Um, as a gay man, having a voice in an industry of any sort is very challenging. I grew up, as many people in the queer community, feeling we had to silence ourselves or we just weren't heard. Noticing the gap and feeling supported from my peers, as well as just my background in training, theater. I like to be on a stage. I didn't want to wait for somebody else to take it on, because it hadn't happened yet. So I think if I didn't take on the leadership at that point, it may not have happened yet.
Go ahead, Adrianne.
Well, I was going to go last since you two started the thing, but I can do that. So I have been passionate about advocacy. It's always been something that's been very important to me, first with disability advocacy. And then later, I mean, obviously there's a lot of intersectionality between queerness and disability and minorities. And so for me, I'm a firm believer in be the change that you want to see. And so I work for an LGBT nonprofit where I live as well. And so I was sharing resources from that with Travel with Pride and with the group and our members and meetings. And I've been friends with Emily and Mike for a long time. And one day I just kind of I got added to the group chat for Travel with Pride. And I said, yeah, I'm good with that. Like I said, I'm very passionate about that, wanting to make sure that everybody has the same access to travel, that everybody has the same access to being able to enjoy this beautiful world that we have around us, and feeling safe in that space and feeling like they belong in that space.
Yeah, I really echo what the others said. You know, really, in a world where, I just often feel hopeless and like, what's a little bit of work that I do going to, make a difference? But it is, and it does, because we've clearly already opened up this conversation in a way that we never saw would grow like it is. So, initially it's just a space for me to be able to do more and take action. I have a queer identifying teenager, and I work with LGBTQ teens locally, just giving them a safe space and an outlet. And right here with this space, we're able to share resources and our knowledge that we already have. So that alone, it was just kind of course, meeting Mike, meeting Adrianne, and others that we've kind of adopted along the way. It's just was like, yeah, we've got to do this. We've really got to do this.
Yeah.
And to
And just as a follow-up to that,
right?
sorry, Mike. Just as a follow-up to that a little bit, you already spoke to this a little bit, Mike, but I was curious, what's some of the feedback you've gotten from members who have joined and who now have this space with it maybe they didn't have before?
Yeah, and I could jump in there too. I think there's an energy that I didn't see before, and I think Emily had talked about adapting and growing, like and how do we make change? Like I think we're about 14 months officially in this more active way, and there's just an energy. Like at these meetings, they're supposed to be an hour, and they always feel like it should be longer because people want to share and connect. And that sense of community, that it is part of something bigger than, but also so personal. And I think there's also an element, Emily talked about hopelessness in the world and coming together and feeling that like this isn't about conflict, it's about connection. And that's a space that this has really provided. So far, so great. And especially I think from the partners to briefly there is like last year, I remember, Mitch from Azamara is like, we need to make this bigger now. And it's just that, again, it's like, I think jumping back to that leadership question is like being in a leadership position, often people listen a little bit more. So having that outlet and that opportunity to connect with industry leaders, we're like, wait, I'm noticing who you are now, is just an opportunity none of us want to waste. So I think there's also that like excitement for us.
Yeah. Hope is a nice thing to have, especially in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll pass it back to you, Martin. I know you have another question.
Well, and before I go there, I just want to give an opportunity to Emily and Adrianne as well. Do you echo the same? Anything you hear in terms of members and their appreciation for having this community?
Absolutely. I mean, we've just been so excited about the willingness to jump in and be a part of this, and I'll equate it to my local Franklin Pride. I'll give a shout out to that first year that we had that. We kind of all stood there at the end, like, oh my gosh, we had no idea you were this many people were here. And as Mike had talked about our first in-person event, really was the same kind of sentiment in the like, okay, you just don't always know the people that you need for that kind of community are out there until you start having the conversation. And so that just brings such openness and even people who are just curious to learn more, like that opens up that discussion for them and gives everybody kind of a spot to go, oh, yeah, this is important, this is something we should be talking about. Let's talk about what this looks like in the travel industry. Let's talk about where this is important and how we can make a difference, and a lot of just realizing things that we didn't even maybe know that could be just moving the needle even a little bit or a lot. We would love a lot. In spaces, on cruises, or in spaces at resorts. I mean, you name it. We could talk for hours about this stuff, but just starting that conversation. Yes, there's absolutely been a welcome need, and we're so glad for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Energy. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, Martin, on my end, since I handle the industry relations part, what I found is speaking with some of our industry partners and letting them know that we have this program at Nexion. There's a lot of them that are very excited about that and have told me, this is something that's important to me. It's something I've been wanting to do, but I just didn't know where to start or how to do it or who to talk to. How do I get involved? What can I do to help you? And for me, that's been really exciting to see. And also back to that hope and the hopeful that there are a lot of people. There are people that believe in this as well and that want to support it, and they just needed that tool and that momentum. So I know it's Emily, I think you said maybe 3 people can't make a difference, but I think 3 people are making a difference.
Yeah.
And it can start small, and that's where you start, is on that one-to-one connection and talking to that one person, giving that one person the opportunity who's going to go talk to another 5 people, and that's just how it builds and it grows. So being able to see that in the industry partners who are also excited about what it is, not just agents, but as a whole within the industry, to me, it's been really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Mike, you pegged it with the word energy. The energy around it is contagious, and it is happening, and I see it. I, for one, am so glad, Adrianne, that you got added to the group chat, whether you were expecting it or not. So, and all of you have such an important role in this and the leadership and what you're doing together. I know, Mike, you and I share that that theater background and that love for the stage. So we're not lack for being able to talk to these things at all. So let's focus in on this, because I think for our audience, this is important. Who should join Travel with Pride?
Yeah, I mean, really any advisor, any supplier, any BDM that's interested in joining in these efforts, but also any advisor looking to expand, their queer travel knowledge and, being, looking to find resources. I mean, any agent that, of course, is identifying as queer and looking for a community. I mean, that is, we want them to feel welcome and have a space to come and share their knowledge, share their experience. So, and of course, I'll put in a plug. Our next 2 meetings are March 10th and May 12th. And so if people want to learn more, specifically our Nexion people, they can find us on Nexion Town under our Travel with Pride group that Martin spoke about in the beginning.
Awesome. And you also have a Facebook group as well. Is that right, for the group?
Yes, we do, and an email list and everything. So if you start at the Nexion Town, if you join us in that group, all of that will lead you to all of the other resources and Facebook group and everything. And of course, you can reach out to any one of us. We are happy to add you to the group chat, bring you in on the discussion.
Absolutely.
And I would even
go ahead, Mike.
I'll just add in a little bit there. That's so yeah, the Facebook group is just also Travel with Pride. We keep it simple,
Yeah.
easy. But to just I would use a quite small reframing of anybody who wants to. I think everybody, we want to join, right? So especially suppliers and partners who have a different impact than advisors do. Like, we want you to join. If you're not unsure of it, join. We're a welcoming group. This work should and needs to matter to everybody. We would much rather have the problem like, oh my gosh, we have 1,000 people on this call, versus like, we're still knocking on doors. So I would just reframe, like, who should join? Everybody who has an interest in empathy, what it means to be an ally, which is like showing up when you don't, it's showing up when someone's not watching. Like, this is a great opportunity to just learn how to be authentic, give space, listen, talk, and grow. And we all have our own stories. So that, I just wanted to add that piece. Like, we want everybody who wants to learn, grow, and connect. And we need people.
Yeah. The many hands theory, right? And I know that we all work together collectively, you all as leadership, the membership of Travel with Pride, and then internal at Nexion as well. So we all have a shared common interest on some things that, that we want to see happen in the industry. So to that, what are some goals for this group as part of the industry?
Yeah, so as part of the industry, what we really want to see on a large scale is accessibility for everyone, queer travelers. And really, for me, and I think all of us kind of talk about this, it's just about reframing the way, even as advisors, starting from the advisor end, how we approach our clients and being more open and not assuming anything. And this really benefits anyone, even if it's not a queer traveler that you're working with. But, you have a client coming to you and just changing the way you do your intake form and asking more open-ended questions. How do you know the person that you're traveling with? What kind of sleeping arrangements would you like? And just not making those assumptions that if two men come to you that they're friends traveling together, if a man and a woman come to you that maybe they're a married couple, maybe they're just friends. And so making that more accessible for that end so people feel more confident and comfortable sharing with their advisor. And then on the supplier end, I mean, there's a whole host of things that, from gender-based dress codes in dining areas to just even for cruise lines. When we had the non-binary passport option for 5 or 6 years there, you would still have to choose male or female for your client. And that obviously for a lot of people, that's not something they're comfortable with. And just even that and being able to go on a cruise and relax in a way that, gets taken for granted for people that don't have that in their life. So just trying to make sure that, like I said, everybody has that positive experience with travel. Um, Being able to feel like it's something where they belong, where they're seen, where they're understood, and not having to worry about those types of things on a vacation. Vacation should be relaxing. You shouldn't have to be on your guard. You shouldn't have to be worrying about how people are going to see you or treat you because maybe you don't fit what others might see as the norm. Um, I don't know if Mike or Emily want to add anything to that.
That's great.
Mike,
Yeah,
anything?
I always have a few things.
I'm sure.
Thanks
I
everybody
know
for
you
giving me
do.
space. I'm going to share a really brief story because this is what I want. I just got off Celebrity Excel, and during one of their main stage shows, and I've had the privilege of being on 43 cruises, if I'm accurate. Early on in the show, one of the lead singers, his name's Jonathan, and sang the song, everything she does is magic, which is the word. I don't know if that's, but that song, everything you knew. Yeah.
Yep.
They changed it to everything he does. And it was a solo song, and there was a dancer with him. And it lasted for, the length of the song, 2 or 3 minutes. And I was with 8 other gay men, and we were either sobbing or teary because in 43 cruises, and I see every single show, this was the first time I had ever seen 2 men on stage singing a love song about longing and not being able to have access to that I felt pulled to give a standing ovation, yell at them saying thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, I spoke to the cruise director and I said, this really matters. And she said, we had to fight to have that in. And I'm sure you get feedback after it every time from people. And she's like, we do, and we don't care. It's staying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need. Like, that is what we need.
Yeah.
Yes. Representation matters. It really does.
Yeah. Well said, right there. Gosh, thank you for sharing that story. I mean, as you were telling it, I can tell, the emotion that you have in it as you relived it. And gosh, this is such important work. So thank you, all of you, for being here. We're going to wrap this up with a fun question because one thing I do know, while this is good, serious work, we all like to have fun. So, Chris, let's take it away. What's a revealing question we can ask these folks?
Yeah, so first and foremost, thank you three for doing what you're doing and for sharing what you've shared today. Before I pivot from seriousness into silliness, I just wanted to say that and make that very clear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But the way this works is we usually close the show by asking our guests something that may not be related to the topic at hand, but helps the audience get to know you a little better. So today, my question is, and this is for all three of you, what is a song that you like from a band or artist that you don't like?
Oh.
That's a tough one.
So just to give you a second to think about it, I'll go first. I really like the song Sundown by Gordon Lightfoot, shout out Canadians, even though I probably couldn't mention I couldn't mention 2 Gordon Lightfoot songs off the top of my head. I don't know any of his other work, not a big country folk music fan, love that one song. So that's it for me. Who wants to go first?
I am scrolling through my iTunes to
I know, I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to figure out, like, who do I not like? I like everybody. This is terrible.
Okay, I've got one. I love the song Thunderstruck, but I'm not a huge AC/DC fan.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of AC/DC, but that song gets me so pumped.
That's a good one.
This is really hard.
Well, if you're fighting for an answer, and if you are a music lover of all kinds of genres, if it's
Oh,
okay, Chris, I'll let them give a little bit of the out to say, maybe talk to something that you just love, you can't help but loving.
Okay.
Well, and I was gonna give you. It's so funny because I can't think of the song right now, and this is like considering we're talking about LGBTQ stuff. And again, I want to preface that don't judge me. I don't like Beyonce. And this is so funny. I'm like, but there's a few of her songs that I absolutely love. I appreciate her as a woman so much and what she does, but I would not turn on an album. There is, and it's so funny. I'm blanking on the song that I'm like, I really enjoy it. Which how bad is that? It's like ask a Beyonce song. I don't know a title, but I appreciate her as a person.
that's so funny. No, I have to say, so probably my least favorite question in the universe is, oh, what are your favorites? Because I am terrible about picking favorites. I could sit and tell you something I like about just about anything. And I feel that way with music as well. So
Yeah.
oh man, that is like probably the hardest question I've had in a year. So thanks to that. But I like all kinds of music and genres and songs. I don't know that I would ever say that I didn't like a band. That's a hard one. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Hey, you know what? That's fair. I'm going to throw out mine, and I'm only going to mention this because since Mike, you talked about Beyonce similarly, and I love her and admire her for who she is, but I don't normally listen to her music. But Texas Hold'em, I don't know what it is. All of
Yeah.
a sudden, like you're like, okay, I can get into that. So
Yeah, that
it's
whole
very.
album is so good.
Yeah, I know. Talk about a genre album that Anyway, yeah. So that would be mine.
So funny. I'm rolling through. I'm like Dolly Parton's another one I really respect. I feel like I'm like gonna lose anyone who likes me.
I know, right?
Like, I keep rolling through people who I adore, but I can't think of any of their songs. So that's like, oh, probably them.
What's yours, Chris?
I said mine at the beginning. It was
Yeah, the Gordon
Sundown by
Lightfoot.
Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh, right. Yes, that's right. You did say that.
Way to
All
stump
right.
us.
Well, thank you all so much for sharing today. Mike, do you have one more thing to add?
Oh, I just said way to stump us with that last question.
Yeah, weren't expecting that to be the hardest one, were you?
No.
I read fun question.
All right. Well,
So that being said, real quick, Chris, now that we've all been stumped or our guests have been stumped, when you join us at Connection, just be sure to walk up to them and ask them this question. I'm sure they'll love it.
yes, you'll have time to think about it.
That's right.
Go ahead and take us to the close, Chris.
All right. Well, from all of us at Nexion to all of you listening, thank you so much. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Adrianne. Thank you, Emily, for joining us today. And until next time, easy travels.
Easy travels.
Thanks, guys.
If you have enjoyed today's episode, please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Drop us your thoughts or even show topic ideas in the comments of this episode or email us at communications@nexion.com.